Okay, hey guys, I'm going over your Unit 2 practice questions for inequalities and equations. This quiz is particularly in IXL, and I also gave you a physical document that's separate, but it's still the same type of question, so I'll try and go over that at the end. So really quickly, I just want to go over how to solve these problems. I'm not going to type in the answers, and I'm not going to show you the answers. I'm just going to tell you what to do. So for this first thing, oops, it's frozen. All right, so test review, and then I'm going to jot down the first question. So it says z minus 47 is less than negative 77. So for this one, we need to add 47 to both sides. And then you'll have your answer. Z is less than whatever the answer is here. I'm not going to give you the answer again. You're just getting the problem solving strategy. So add 47 to both sides. That's it for that one. Number 2. It says Jake and his friends went to the Dye Storm paint tag course to celebrate the end of the school semester. The course charges $36 for an hour of group tag plus a rental fee for each paint marker. Jake's group played for 1 hour and rented 5 paint markers and paid a total of $86. How much did it cost to rent each paint marker? So I've got to write my equation. So the total was $86. And then it was 36 for an hour of tag, plus a rental fee for 5 paint markers. So plus 5 markers and the fee. So they told us that the hour is 1 hour. So then this is just 36 times 1 plus 5. We'll change this to x because that's going to be my unknown. I already know that there's 1 hour. So from here, I will subtract 32 from both sides, then divide by 5. And that will give you the cost for the paint markers. Okay, the next question says, Jenny made a New Year's resolution to learn how to play the violin. She bought an introduction to a violin class pack from the Noble Notes music shop, which covers the cost of 12 violin lessons. So we've got 12 lessons. And she also paid $25 to rent a violin. In all, Jenny paid $385. How much does each violin lesson cost? So we need to build an equation. So we'll start with 12 lessons. We don't know how much lessons cost, so that's 12x plus 25 equals 385. And then in order to solve, you'll need to subtract 25 from both sides. And then divide by 12 on your side. Number 4, it says solve the inequality and graph the solution. So you've got 9 is less than 3 times the quantity of h plus 6. I would divide both sides by 3. And then subtract 6. Remember that h will be on this side, so h will be greater than whatever number you get over here. Okay, one more thing to keep in mind. Remember, h is going to be greater than that. So if you turn it around, you'll say h is greater than that number there. So you have to be mindful that when you relocate your variable, that the alligator follows what it's supposed to eat. Now, this will not flip signs because there's no negative symbol here that we would multiply or divide by, or negative number. All right, number 5. Solve for z. So z is being divided by 92 and then subtracting 292, and it's less than negative 293. So we would add 292 to both sides and then multiply by 92. I'll make this a big dot actually on both sides. And then that'll be it. Number 6, solve for y. So 9 equals 3 times the sum of negative 16 and y. So again, I would divide by 3 on both sides, then add 16 to both sides. Number 7. Okay, it says complete the process for solving the equation. Fill in all the missing terms and select all missing descriptions. Simplify any fractions. All right, so first they start by getting 16r plus blank minus 19 equals 13r plus 16. So it looks like we have to multiply the 2. Oh, we have to apply the distributive property. And then once you get the term here, you'll make sure that your distributive property of 2 is applied to everything inside the parentheses. Okay, I'm not going to write this one down. On this step, you'll have a constant here and a constant here. You'll have to put those constants together. That's called there's a mathematical statement for that. It's not called put constants together. It's called something else. And then here we would bring a variable over. So you've got to determine which variable comes over here, and this will have an r with it. And then here you'll bring a constant over, so you've got to determine what constant needs to go to the other side. And then here we'll do a final step where we have to get rid of the coefficient next to this r. All right, on this one it says fill in the missing terms and select all missing descriptions. So again, we must apply this 10 to everybody inside the parentheses by multiplication and a property that we talk about in class. It looks like on the next step, they bring over a variable. So you've got to know what to do with that variable. You turn it to its opposite sign, and then bring it over here. Make note of the variable on the right side. You'll bring it to the left. Then you'll have this variable here, and you'll remove a constant to bring it to the other side, and you've got to determine what the total is here, and then here once you divide by the coefficient. All right, 948, this is question number 9. Is greater than or equal to 136 minus g. All right, this has a negative, so don't forget the rule with inequalities and negative coefficients. So first we must add 36 to both sides. Subtract 136. I don't even know where I got 36 from. I totally disregarded that 100. So subtract 36 from both sides. And then I'm not going to tell you what the coefficient is, but you must divide by the coefficient of g. Hope you can figure that out. Number 10. It says solve the inequality and graph the solution. So this is 1 is greater than or equal to v minus 1 divided by 7. So we must multiply by 7 on both sides. And then add 1 to both sides. Remember that v will be less than or equal to. Carla paid for an introduction to a painting course at Color Castle Art Studio. The cost of the course covers 12 painting classes. She also bought a beginner's painting kit for $28. Carla paid $220 in all. How much does each class cost? All right, so the kit, what question is this? 11. The kit is $28. 12 classes. And a total of $220. But we need to know how much the classes cost. So I should have partitioned this off just a little bit. There we go. So the classes we need to know. The kit costs $28, so we've got to write an equation. The 12 classes is going to have our variable, so it'll be something plus something equals $220. We've got to put the kit here, and then the classes times the number of classes. So this will be 12 and most likely a variable. And then we'll subtract the kit. Subtract kit price. Then divide by 12. And that'll get your answer there. Number 12. This one you'll be multiplying by a negative, so you have to remember your rule there. You multiply by -2 on both sides and then subtract 4. Number 13. Here you're just adding 82 to both sides. Here you're filling in the missing blanks like we did with the other two questions that look like this. It looks like they brought over a variable, and then they brought over a constant over here, and then they divide at the end. Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, -16. -16 and 6/10 equals -4 times 17.2 minus j minus 17. All right, so it looks like we need to add 17 to both sides. So plus 17. Then we need to divide by -4. Then we need to subtract 17.2. And then we need to divide by the coefficient of j. And there is an invisible number there, and it's got a symbol as well. Here we'll multiply both sides by 3 and subtract 1. Here we're filling in more blanks, finding out what they distributed, what they brought over, what they're going to bring down after they simplify, all the things. 19. Here we're doing two things. We're going to subtract 20 from both sides and then divide by the coefficient of n. And remember the rule here. You have to apply the rule properly. And then lastly, I would divide both sides by -3.5, add 19, and then divide by this coefficient right here next to the m, which has a sign, and it's not a positive sign. All right, good luck. Okay, real quick, just in case you need more explanation on that last one. It says here, I've got -10.5, so I'm going to divide both sides by -3.5, subtract 19 from both sides, and then I'll divide by the coefficient of m.